As someone that's nearing the end of his 20s, I'm 28 years old now, I wanted to create a sort of reflection video on money mistakes that I've made or money mistakes that I've seen other people make in their 20s. And this isn't going to be one of those general get an IRA and invest in index funds videos, because I think that practical advice isn't always the best advice. And I didn't do that till a couple years ago, and I really don't have any regrets that I didn't. I wanted to give this from a perspective of someone who has spent his 20s, years of his 20s with very little money and years being well off. So here are the 6 different money mistakes that I think that you should avoid in your 20s. The first money mistake to avoid in your 20s is believing that money brings happiness. And to prove that money doesn't bring happiness, I point to this man right here. Does he look happy to you? I don't think so. But in all seriousness, do not spend your 20s thinking that you need to become a millionaire to be happy, because that is just simply not true. If you do that, you're going to spend 10 years of your life, probably the best 10 years of your life, trying to make money, and you're going to regret it later. In reality, what brings happiness is experience and relationships. And money's going to help facilitate this, but you don't need that much money to be happy and enjoy your life. So don't spend your 20s thinking that if you make $1 million, you're going to be happy, because that is just simply not true. Second money mistake to avoid in your 20s is trying to become rich. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong about being rich, but I don't think that there's anything wrong about being poor in your 20s. And I think you should really embrace being poor in your 20s, because you're going to learn some of the most valuable financial lessons in your 20s when you're young and poor. And I don't think I would be the same person if, when I was 20 years old, I was making a lot of money. I can explain to you how to budget and how to save, but in reality, the best way to learn is whenever you only have $10 in your pocket, you're at the grocery store, and that's all you have to spend for the week. That's when you're going to learn the best financial lessons of your life. So don't feel a need to make a lot of money in your early 20s, and just embrace being poor, because there's nothing wrong with being poor in your 20s. The third money mistake to avoid in your 20s is upgrading your life too quickly. And the reason that I think this is a mistake is because as you get older, your standards get higher. When you're 20, your standards are probably going to be at the lowest point of your life, and I think you should embrace that in a good way, because when you're 20, you're not going to mind living with 5 other people in a house and eating ramen noodles every single day. But once you turn 30, you're not going to want to do that anymore. So I think you should upgrade your life, but do it slowly as you get older, because once you pass certain points, you can't go back. There's no way you can just eat ramen noodles for the rest of your life. So upgrade your life slowly and try to use money for experiences rather than things, because that is how you should be spending your 20s, on experiences, not just getting nice things. The fourth money mistake to avoid in your 20s is focusing too much on a career. And I say this because I have seen so many people that I went to high school with. They graduated high school, they went to college, graduated college, and at the age of 21 or 22 started their career. And I just think this is a terrible, terrible mistake that people make, because your 20s are a time when you're going to have the least amount of responsibility in your life and the most amount of time and freedom. So go on and enjoy it. I didn't start a career, I didn't get an adult job until I was 27, and I am literally at the exact same spot as everyone else. So you have your whole life to work, so just start to spend your 20s doing fun things, exploring, learning, because you're going to catch up to everyone. You don't need to start working right after college. The fifth money mistake to avoid in your 20s is saving and investing too much. And most people would disagree with me on this, because mathematically it makes sense. If you start investing when you're 20, when you're 60, it's going to have a lot more time to grow. But the reality is that in your 20s, you have a lot of free time, and you're going to have a lot less responsibility. As you get older, you're going to have less time and more responsibility. So you don't need to focus too much on saving in these years and investing, because you're going to have your whole life to do that. Focus on gaining unique life experiences and enjoying your life, because as you get older, it's a lot harder to do that. And the sixth money mistake to avoid making in your 20s is taking on debt or loans. And in this video, I'm trying to send the message out that money should be a very low priority in your 20s. You should be focused more on gaining life experiences and having fun, but the second you take on a loan, or the second you take out a debt, you're no longer free. There's a difference between being poor and having debt. Because when you're poor, you're not bowing to anybody. You just don't have any money. But once you take on debt, then you owe something to someone. So in your 20s, it's important to have fun, but also don't take on a bunch of debt to do it. And those are the 6 money mistakes that you should avoid in your 20s. A little bit different than most videos with this exact same title, but I really believe that your 20s is a decade that is unparalleled to any other decade, and you really need to take advantage of all the freedom and all the time you're going to have. And with that, thank you so much for watching this video. If you do enjoy this video, please consider clicking the like button, subscribe to my channel, comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Muchas gracias y que tenga un buen día. Nos vemos.